Shalom you all, welcome to Torah on the Move. This week's parsha is Teitzei. Teitzei means when you go out, and it talks about war. In last week's parsha of Shaftim, we had a very interesting idea that we do not cut down fruit-bearing trees, because the idea is Ki ha'adam eitz hasadeh, man is compared to the tree in the field, eitz hasadeh. Why are we compared to trees, and what message does this have for us? What is a tree? A tree, as we know, has deep roots in the ground. First it grows its roots, and then it grows higher and higher. An animal doesn't have roots. It goes from place to place to find food. Some animals migrate to different areas depending on the weather. So that's the difference between a tree and an animal. They are different. So what do we learn from them? So in Hasidic thought, the tree is compared to emotions. Your emotions don't change, right? You feel angry, you feel sad, they're deeply rooted inside of you. And it's very hard to change someone's emotion. However, intellect, you can change your mind. With an intellectual argument, you can convince someone to think a different way. And that is the difference between intellect and emotions. So intellect can be compared to animals, right? You have animals, you have octopuses that can open bottles, and you have animals that change colors, chameleons. You have all sorts of really intelligent animals that use their intellect and can adapt to different situations. However, a tree doesn't adapt. A tree first puts its roots and then it grows. That's why some trees have to shed their leaves when it's too cold, because a tree is deeply rooted. It's there, it's in one place. In the hot, in the cold, a tree is there. So what do we learn from this? However, the Torah wants us to do exactly that. In this week's parsha, the Torah says, Ki Teitzei le'milchama al oivecha. When you go to war, the Zohar writes that the word for war, milchama, the root is the same as lechem, bread. Lacham means wage war, and lechem means bread. Because our inner desires, how do we eat bread? Do we say a blessing? Do we eat kosher food? Do we do it to serve God? Do we do it for a mitzvah? Do we just celebrate a happy and Jewish occasion? Or do we eat foods that we shouldn't be eating? Do we eat foods for the wrong reasons? That is our constant inner struggle. And the Torah says, Ki teitzei le'milchama al oivecha. When you go wage war above your enemies. It doesn't say im oivecha, with your enemies. It says above your enemies. I think this is a really beautiful point. Because when we wage war, whatever that war is, whether it's a war between our evil inclination, our Yetzer Hara, and our Yetzer Tov, our good inclination, or actual military war, we should always be morally superior. We're supposed to change our emotions, not just intellectually, but from a deep emotional basis, which is why even in the book of Psalms, man is compared to a tree, like a tree on the edge of the water, just like I am now. Man is commanded to still be like a tree, to be deeply rooted in our tradition, in our heritage. Go to synagogue, learn Torah, do mitzvot. These things we don't change, but we have to change our emotion. We have to connect to them. We have to understand what we're saying. We have to really do things because we want to do them and not because we're told to do them. And by doing this, by having the positives of the tree being deeply rooted, as well as the adaptability of an animal, thus we can grow higher and higher, and we can Ki teitzei le'milchama al oivecha. We can go to war not with our enemies, but above them. We can be higher, we can be superior. We won't stoop to their level, whether it's our internal struggle. We will always not make any compromises for what we truly believe in order to best serve God and make the world a better place. Shabbat Shalom.